The first thing that I saw when I got to Findlay, it was out by the park, Riverside Park. And that's the first place I went, and I saw a rescue boat. Somebody in a rescue boat taking the boat out into a flooded park. Somebody had stranded their car in the water. And that's like the first thing I came upon. I was like, oh my gosh, there's this boat like on a street, right? It's not where a boat should be. And it's you know, driving out to save this person who drove too far into the water. And it was just like, wow, that's crazy. I'm from North Canton, Ohio. So I graduated from high school there in 2002. And then after that, I went to Ohio State and got a degree in atmospheric science or meteorology. And I graduated from Ohio State in 2006. And then ever since then, I've lived in Lima or Findlay. So I've lived in Northwest Ohio for the last 12 years. When I first took a job I worked at Your Hometown Stations in Lima. WLIO was the NBC affiliate there, and I started there in 2007. And the first, well, the big flood was in August of 2007. It was only about 3 months after I started at the television station, so I was still really new to, you know, reporting, and especially reporting on the weather. From my perspective as a meteorologist, I learned really quick that that's what people cared about. And I learned really quick that that's what I needed to focus on in my forecasting, and really, really try to focus on and figure out like rainfall. How much rain are people gonna get? Like, you say you're just gonna get a passing shower, but you gotta be sure yourself. And it put a lot of pressure on me to do my job better. When my news director said, Kyle, you have to go up to Findlay for the day, and you need to get video of what's going on, and I just didn't, it didn't like compute in my head like how bad the flood was. And then when I actually got up to see it, it was like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is like something that really impacts people. Because up until then, I mean, I knew Findlay flooded and had a flooding problem, but it wasn't until I saw it and actually had to report on it and do a story on it, like it really became real for me. And like I had to do it justice, because this was something that people deal with for generations, right? Findlay sits in a very low-lying area, right? And Findlay is growing, so you're building new houses in the suburbs and you're building new businesses. When it rains, rain has to go somewhere, and we already sit in a low-lying area, right? So yeah, we're taking away grasslands and turning it into asphalt and businesses and, you know, roads and stuff like that. And that's fine, but you have to think, where is all of this water going to go? When it used to get sucked up by the grass and trees that were in place, now it's hitting asphalt and streets and running off into the river. Whenever you hear there's a flood warning or a flood, you know, a flash flood warning or something like that, take it seriously, because yeah, these things don't happen like immediately, but a flood takes a day sometimes to develop, and it's a good idea to, you know, take those warnings seriously. Flooding, it's not fun to deal with, but man, I'd much rather deal with, you know, a flood from time to time than earthquakes or wildfires or, you know, stuff like that. And I love the culture, like the area, the people from here and the farming community is just so like, they're so welcoming, and they're so willing to just like help one another out. Because Findlay's a big city, but there's tons of small little communities all around, and each one has their own like cool little identity, and it's fun to get to know each one of those. And like even in those small little towns and villages, it's fun to like see, you know, people willing to give like the shirt off their back to you, and that's just one of the best parts about living here. So yeah, we deal with flooding, but the people here are still like